to the Cannons and Tomahawks podcast, presented by Belly Up Sports. All things hockey, all the time. And now, here are your hosts, two washed-up beer leaguers who have no idea what they're talking about, Zach Martin and Alex Nuttall.
Hey, what is going on, everyone? Welcome to another special edition episode of the Cannons and Tomahawks podcast. The last week's episode, you guys heard jersey rankings from 32 to 21. Well, today we're doing 20 through 11 of the best NHL jerseys, home edition for the 2020-21 season. Alex, how are you doing tonight, man? Are you excited to get to talking some more NHL jerseys?
Fantastic, because I'm interested to see whatever nonsense you want to have in some of your top picks and things like that. And we'll have some controversial talks about that. But once we get through 20 and 11, I'm very interested to see what your honorable mention is going to be today, because I think mine is pretty good.
I think mine's pretty good too. So yeah, and I think some of your picks might be a little bit controversial as well. So it's not all about me here, brother. There's some that I'm kind of like suspect on you. I know last episode I was kind of suspect on a couple of yours. But you ready to dive into this, man? You ready to start with number 20?
Yeah, I guess. Whatever. All right. So we are going to start with number 20. I have the New York Islanders. The color scheme is one thing I do enjoy. The blue, orange, and white. But again, as we said last episode, you're going to hear us talking about shoulder patches or lack thereof quite a bit. There's no shoulder patches. The logo is in the middle. Now, the sleeves are pretty decent. I do like the large white section at the bottom, and then there's a little bit of blue, and then you have the additional orange section. I do enjoy the orange around the collar and how it's not just a single strip. It has a little bit of a design, so I do like that. And I think the final touch for those is the white string coming out at the top.
Yeah, those ones are really nice. For me, I have no problem with it. I have them in a different spot. I have them a little bit higher on my list, but these aren't really bad. I mean, if they added a little bit of a shoulder patch, I think they'd be a lot better. But I have no problem with this pick. I think the Islanders at 20 is a nice touch. For me, I picked the Toronto Maple Leafs. We talked about in the last episode. It's kind of blah with just like this, they just throw stripes here and there in a couple places. For me, it's just because of the logo. It's just how it looks on the jersey. The numbers are fine. It's, the collars are all right. It's just for me because of that logo so iconic. I think I give a lot of the the original 6 teams a little bit of a bump just because of the icon, like just how iconic the logos are. And sometimes they do look kind of okay on the jerseys. Now I know I did say Tampa's was kind of boring because it's just they slapped a logo on it and that's about it.
Yeah.
For me, I have to, it's more of like because of it's an iconic bias towards an original 6 team. That's why I kind of had them. They're not top 10, but I do have them 20. So yeah. I don't think it's too bad. 20. It's not a bad spot for the Maple Leafs in my opinion.
No, it's understandable for sure.
Yeah. So for 19, another original 6 team, almost like how you had it, where you had Toronto, Detroit. I also went Toronto, Detroit. So mine was a little bit higher on the list. Like we talked about with Detroit in the last episode with you. Just another jersey, kind of just slapped a couple stripes here and there. As a Blackhawks fan, it's kind of like, they're our big rival, but it's another nostalgia iconic factor. That's why I have the Detroit at 19, in my opinion. I mean, the logo is just iconic and it's just so good. So
yeah, I agree. The Red Wings logo, when you have people from other countries that don't really know hockey, like in Europe and stuff, and they think of the NHL, you think of the Blackhawks, the Red Wings, the Maple Leafs, the Bruins, and things like that. The old school original 6 teams. Mm-hmm. At 19, I have the New York Rangers. The big thing with me is having the lettering on the jersey rather than a straight up logo. It's unique. I obviously it's New York Rangers. It's red, white, and blue. I love the color scheme. Go America. But it's one of those things that they don't have the shoulder patches, and I think that could add a lot. Get their Rangers little shield logo that they have and throw those up there, and it would look a little better.
I have a better choice. The the Statue of Liberty jerseys that they used to have back in the 2000s with their alternate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just like their reverse retros.
Yeah, throw that on the shoulders instead of the Rangers
old school Lady Liberty. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Either way,
because what do you think of when you think of Lady Liberty on equipment? Richter's helmet, bam, throw Lady Liberty on the shoulder patches.
Yeah,
we're talking a whole different spot for the Rangers, but I get what you're saying. Yeah, it's just, and of course, like the lettering and how they have the lettering and then the trim around it and the numbers, because it's just how like offset the number is with how they did that. Those are also iconic. It's just because of the fact that it's just the lettering and the number factor that they did with these jerseys. So
yeah, I think it's just if they had a shoulder patch of some kind, it would add a couple spots to it. It'd make it look just a little bit better.
Yeah, for sure.
So coming in 18, I have the Boston Bruins, a iconic logo for the NHL. The team is a powerhouse. There's no negating that.
Yeah,
it's just. The jersey is something just seems not right with it. You have the original spoke logo in the middle, which is cool. The black, white, and yellow, fine. I think it's just there's too much yellow on the shoulders. I think the shoulder patches they made a little too wide. So it seems like you look at the jersey and the first thing you're drawn to is the shoulders rather than the logo where it should be.
I get what you're saying. I think if they narrowed the yellow a little bit better, I think it'd be it. I think also just that white going from black to that white immediately into yellow. If they throw in a little extra black piping in between the yellow and the white on the shoulder, like how I talked about with the Flyers, just break it up a tiny bit on that shoulder piece and narrowing the yellow down a little bit. Because the logo is not super wide, but I think if you just narrow down the yellow, I think you're looking at a better jersey. But
yeah.
I get what you're saying. So for 18, I guess I'm wrong with a lot of original sixes in the starting off this episode because I went Toronto, Detroit. Now I'm at Montreal. I have the Canadiens at 18. And of course, iconic. It's got the C with the H in the middle of it, and it's got the triple stripe. The white, blue on white. The logo fitting perfectly on the stripes. That's fine. I think it's great, and I kind of like the white collar on it. It's just the shoulder patches are just bare and blah to me. I think if they just throw on some shoulder patches, I think this jersey's a lot better. Like I said, it's the logo. It looks really nice. The striping and down the middle of the jersey. No other team does that. I think it's fine. Florida kind of has this, but I think the way they did it was a little bit too wide. Montreal kept it nice and tight, which is fine. Throwing a couple shoulder patches, different spot from Montreal, but I think these are solid. I think these are solid jerseys in my opinion.
Yeah, they're definitely solid jerseys. They're also pretty iconic too. It's any Canadian team seems to be a staple in the hockey world and in terms of the NHL. Those jerseys I do like. I like the Canadians a lot. That's probably my Canada team, but I do enjoy the jerseys quite a bit.
Yeah, I do have a Canadian team, which I'll talk about when we talk about in another episode. And I think one of a fellow Belly Up podcast is going to like where I put my Canadian team, quote unquote, on there. And there's a whole different reasons. But so for 17, I go for the Edmonton Oilers. Like we talked about earlier, it's kind of just like a stick a logo on the jersey and go with it. But I kind of like the blue because it breaks it up a little bit on the shoulders. If they threw a patch on, I think it'd be a little bit better. And I think if they did something a little bit different with the logo, I guess it'd be a little bit better in my opinion. But I mean, I have a completely different form where you had it. Overall, it's a good jersey. I kind of like the details a little bit better on this one, in my opinion. Yeah. But if they threw two patches on it, I think if they threw like an oil drop, like the oil drop logo, or just another. If they ever came up with another secondary logo, I think it'd be a lot better because they just have one logo and that's it. They don't have anything else different. But
no, the logo itself I do enjoy. I think it's a good logo. But yeah, I agree. There needs to be. Seems like there just should be something else going on there.
Yeah.
So for 17, I have the New Jersey Devils. So for me, it seems like there's just nothing going on the main torso portion of the jersey other than the logo. Seems like if you take the logo off, it's just it's like a solid red t-shirt. I mean, there you have the black section on the shoulders, which is fine. It's about the same as I think the Bruins was, but the black on the red doesn't really make me kind of get drawn to it more than it should, which is good.
Yeah.
I think if they would add like so on their sleeves, they have that white, black, white striping. I think if they did something like that, but maybe a little bit smaller on the bottom of the sweater itself, on the bottom of the torso, I think it would look much better.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I think even if they narrowed the black down a little bit and added that white striping on top where the black is, I think it'd be better too. And I think the white stripes on the sleeves, it seems like it's too wide and it's like a narrow strip of black. I think it's just too big of white. Like for me, it's like you don't need to have a massive spot of white on a jersey. Just tone it down a little bit. I think it will look better on the sleeves, in my opinion, and just add a little bit of white where the black is on the shoulders. Like you said, have that striping, have it on the sleeves on the bottom of the jersey, but just narrow down some of the colors to make it tighter. Yeah. I think the jersey would be a lot better, but not a bad spot for 17 for the Devils, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think they could do something with adding a shoulder patch too, even if it was like an alternate NJ, just block lettering that has, a little bit of a design like you have the devil horns and the tail on their logo now. Add something a little bit like that on there. I think that would look cool on the shoulder patch. But
so people are gonna be like, let's like create a drinking game for how many times we said shoulder patches, because we've said it so much.
Oh, we're at 17. We'd be blasted by now. I'd be having to call the ambulance.
Yeah, I feel bad for anyone who ever makes this into a drinking game where they're like just talking like every time they say shoulder patch, take a shot, because oof. I feel bad for you guys already. We're only 17. This is going to get a lot worse.
All right. So moving on to 16, I have the Philadelphia Flyers. As we talked about before, the orange on white is just off-putting to me.
It's too much bright. It's too much bright for me.
I like the black piping they have around the numbers on the arms. I think if they would have that black piping, or even I'd say maybe about a half-inch stripe separating the orange and white, it would look a million times better to me.
Oh, for sure. No doubt.
It does just seem a little bit bright. That's all.
It's too bright, in my opinion. For me, I have the Minnesota Wild at 16. I like the design. I kind of would, because like if you look on the sleeve, they have that beige and they have that red stripe. If they added that red stripe across the main part of the torso where the logo is, I think that would look so much better, because just having that red right there and that's it, but not on that main stripe. It kind of looks just odd having that there, but overall, like the Minnesota style M on the shoulders on the patches, perfect. The three strings, it's not loose; it's just like a tight string, perfect. And the logo is amazing. I mean, you got the sun, you got like the evergreens, you got the river as the bear's mouth, and it's just. Overall, the logo was fantastic. I think it's a top logo for sure.
Yeah.
If you add a little bit of extra red in the middle torso beige part, phenomenal jerseys. Because even the beige at the bottom of the jersey, perfect. It's small. It's not crazy. It's just this jersey works. It's just a couple small tweaks. I have this higher than 16, but I mean, there's just so many other jerseys ahead of this one I kind of liked better, but this one is just a little bit more. I think it's a different spot in my opinion.
No, for sure. I totally understand that.
So 15, I have the Rangers. Like we talked about earlier, it's just the iconic Rangers design. Diagonal Rangers across the front. The piping of like the colors on the sleeves and the bottom of the jersey works perfectly fine. The numbering is just so great, and like how they have like there's no collar, but they had that little red patch of red where the NHL logo is at. It does break it up a little bit. It's not one continuous color like you see with like Toronto or Tampa. It's just like you said, lay Liberty on the sleeves. So much better. It would be so much better if they just added a patch, lay Liberty or the Rangers logo, something. It's such a good jersey, but it's just that one, like I said, for Minnesota, that one small detail makes it so much better.
Yeah. Yeah. So for 15, I have the Dallas Stars. I like their jersey and uniforms for multiple reasons. One, it has nothing to do with hockey. My favorite color is green. I love green. So obviously that kind of draws me to it as it is. I I like Texas, so obviously that's automatically drawn to the Dallas Stars. But it's one of those things that for me, I think if there was something different. So for example, like we talked about earlier in the past episode, that if they got the logo on their pants that has the Dallas Star or in the Texas outline, or even, for example, they have their highlighter jerseys, the black with bright neon green. If they had that logo and threw it in the middle, I think entirely different jersey. I would
agree with that. I would agree with that. If they had like that's how that reverse, like that alternate reverse retro thing, or I don't know if it's a reverse retro, but just that, like you said, that neon green black jersey and have that logo as the front of this, that I would have them drastically farther up my list than where I had them in the previous episodes. I agree with that. Make that logo in the middle a little bit different. Perfect. For me, it's just the logo throws this jersey off.
Yeah. Like
I get what you're saying.
The coloring on the arms and the bottom of the sweater and around the neck, I think are very well done.
So good.
I'm not going to say they're perfect, but they're damn close. 100%.
Yeah, it's just for me. It's just the main logo on this jersey throws the whole thing off
all day.
For me, it's just the logo. It's just what throws this jersey off.
So moving on to 14, I have the Florida Panthers. As we talked before, I know you had a little bit different reasoning, but for me, I like the font that they have of the numbers. I think that really adds it. The one thing I like that I believe they're the only team that does this is that the numbers are where the shoulder patches are supposed to go, and the shoulder patches are where the numbers are supposed to go.
I think they are. I think they're the only team that does that, and that's another reason why I like those ones, because I mentioned it too. Just where they have the numbers on the shoulders, I think it's unique and different, and I like that. So I completely agree with the numbers. Yeah. It's perfect how they kind of flip flopped it, and like the numbering, how they have the numbers work. If it was like a plain block, like a college number that's like so basic, no, it wouldn't work. But just that totally makes it better.
Yeah. I
agree with you there.
One, there's two things, in my opinion, I think that would make the jersey a little bit better. If the white was a little bit thinner, or if they had get a red stripe, the same red that goes through the middle, and then
break it up.
Yes, break that up. And then the other thing, as small and minuscule as it is, the string that they have, normally there's the string hanging out. So just like the one on your pick that you have, if they had the string hanging out, it sounds very obscure, but I think that would make it look just that much better. That just alone would add a couple spots for me.
Yeah, because I know with the other ones we talked about, where like for Minnesota's, how theirs was like straight, it was like straight across, but it looks like it was like tucked in, and it's fine. Like this little X pattern they got going on is a little bit weird, so I agree with that. Yeah, for me, that's why I had them a lot lower on my list, just because that white is so wide and that gold is so small, it throws it off so much. Like I said, if they make the white smaller or add a red stripe in the middle of that would make it better, and like make the gold a little bit bigger, because the gold and the red and white work perfectly together. It's just the proportion size is just so off for me. That's what, like I said, the logo, I like the logo, but if it was like the Jumping Panther logo on this jersey, I think that would make it a little bit. I think that'd make it better in my opinion. It's just I think that's what it is, but it's just the white is too much. So for me, I have the Islanders at 14. Same when we talked about what you said, like the collar design is different. The sleeve design look is just so nice, and just that blue and orange, it just works. Add a little bit, like have like the fisherman, or have some different, or just have like the island of Long Island on this, like how they have in their main logo, how they actually have the island of Long Island on there. Add that to the shoulders. I think that's a better. I think it'd be perfect.
Yeah.
But overall, I like this one. It's just iconic because it's just the Islanders have got that orange and blue and white. It just works so well together. And just the way the different sizes for the sleeves and how they do with the colors, it works perfectly.
Yeah, even if they got that, so in their primary logo, that NY, that the part of the Y is a hockey stick, even if they had that as the shoulder patches, or flip-flopped it and put their main logo as a shoulder patch and then just had the NY on the middle, I think that would look fine.
Yeah, for sure. Or like have or do something different with the Islanders. Like have the Islanders in block, or they have like aisles or something.
Yeah,
I think it'd be kind of cool. So 13, I know you had the Kings a lot lower on your list. For me, it's just it's just something different about this jersey for the Kings. It's just for whatever reason, it's just I know I talk about like the colors on some teams being so white, it's kind of ridiculous. I know the Kings one is the white on the sleeve is so big, but for whatever reason, it's just aesthetically pleasing to how the piping is on the rest of the jersey. I don't really know how to explain it. It's just the number font. The number font for the Kings is so I like it for some reason. I know it's a weird spot. I know this is probably one that you were kind of like thrown off on, but for me, this jersey just works. And if they add, like, it's just, I don't know, for whatever reason, it's just aesthetically pleasing for me. But
yeah. Well,
I get what you were saying though.
Yeah. So my pick for 13 is drastically different than yours.
Drastically different.
So for 13, I have the Winnipeg Jets. I like these jerseys a lot. I think the color scheme works pretty well together. The only thing that throws me off is that lighter shade of blue that they have in there. So they have the dark blue, the white, and the gray, but that lighter shade of blue just seems like it doesn't fit in there. It seems like somebody was using Microsoft Paint and then tried to find the closest match that they could get and then accidentally clicked something else and didn't pay attention.
Yeah, honestly, I like the light blue. I think it works fine. It's just the shoulder patches are so, I don't know what they are. They're just so odd looking to look at. And honestly, the main logo is just a circle within a circle within another circle, and it's got the Canadian flag and the jet. It looks like a bullseye, and someone just threw a jet in the middle of it.
Now, see, I like the logo. The logo I like a lot. The jersey setup is, I mean, I have it at 13, but it's not super great. It's just definitely middle of the pack for me.
Disclaimer for me, I like the old Winnipeg Jets logo better, but
yeah.
Unfortunately, it's with the Coyotes because it's their part of their history. But it's just for me, it's just like it looks like a big bullseye and someone just threw a jet in the middle of it. But yeah. I get what you like.
For number 12, I have the Buffalo Sabres.
Man, where I have the Jets in Buffalo is so drastic from you. It's crazy.
So their new jerseys they have this year, I think, are super slick. I like the different shade of the blue that they went from last year. They lightened it up a little bit, and then they changed the gold coloring just enough to where for me, it works. It works really well. Again, I think this is another one of those things where the lack of anything on the shoulders hurts the jersey. You know, it could be something where maybe they have just a white outline of the state of New York or something on there. Or so, for example, like Minnesota has that different style M on their jersey or on the shoulder. They could do something like that and have a B on their jersey on the shoulders and just have it in a different font. And I think that would add a little bit to it.
For me, it's just the lack of color. The collar is all blue. There's no accent. There's no something that pops on the collar. It's just all blue.
If they made the collar that gold, I think that would look a little bit better because it's blue. So once you hit the top of the logo, it's blue, 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 and then blue helmet. And it seems like, oh, hey, there's a floating face in there. Okay, well,
and
great.
The strap is white. If the strap was blue, and it's like, or like we said with the shoulder patches, or have the old buffalo head, one of the black, red and silver jerseys, have that buffalo head back in these colors. Then I would give them a little bit more respect. But it's just the.
If they bring the buffalo head back, that better be their main logo.
Exactly. Of course. Exactly. And that's why I like the old ones better because these ones are just. It's so much blue. It's so much blue. And it's just the top. Like after you get past the numbers and the logo, it's just nothing but blue. Yep. There's no other detail past that logo. It's just the collar's bland. The shoulders are plain. It looks like someone threw some numbers on and threw a logo on the front and threw some stripes. And that's all they did with this jersey. There's nothing else to this thing, in my opinion. I get why you like it. For me, it's just there's no detail past the logo. There's nothing there. So I have the Pittsburgh Penguins at 12. This logo is just it's so great. The logo is fantastic. The sleeve design is so great. And I like when they I know we're not going to do their road jerseys, but when they go to the road jerseys, they keep the sleeves the same and they just make the rest of the jersey just white, and they change the white stripe to a black stripe. And that's it. It's like they have that nice way of making the jersey flipping to the road jerseys, and it still looks clean. I think Penguins probably have one of the top 5 home and road jerseys because the fact that you can just flip it on one color and that's absolutely it. I mean, do you remember the logo from like the 90s and 2000s? It was like the big triangle with a penguin head popping out of the top of it.
Mm-hmm.
If they had that logo with this, I think those would look perfect too. But I think having Pittsburgh at 12 is good in my opinion because it's just the way it works. It's just getting closer to like 12-1 was a little bit harder. It was just unfortunate where Pittsburgh fell for me, but I like the logo and I like how the sleeves are. And the collar work is just great. Like I said, it's not a jersey I hate. It's just past this, it's kind of hard for me to put them in the top 10. But I have Pittsburgh at 12.
I definitely agree with you, and I agree with your statement about going from the home to the road jerseys. It definitely is slick and it looks very well done, and even their alternate home jerseys, I guess you want to call them alternate, the yellow jerseys that they wear all the time.
Yeah.
Those look really good too. I do like them, even though
their retros are nice too with the old school Pittsburgh diagonal, like they did, like what the Rangers did, but they did it for Pittsburgh because they did use those in the 90s too. Those ones are also slick.
Yeah. I mean, I like their jerseys and the logo. It's disgusting for me to say clearly, but I do enjoy this stuff.
Clearly, yeah. I'm from Northeast Ohio, and in fact, I like a Pittsburgh jersey because of just how just clean it is. It hurts to say it, but Pittsburgh, there are some jerseys that have been pretty bad, but just these ones they've brought back, it's just it works. Like there's no patches on the sleeve. It works.
Yep,
it just works. So I have Arizona at 11. Now, here's a quick disclaimer. If I was basing this off the the burnt red jerseys they have, which I've always loved those ones with the big coyote head on the front, those jerseys are always they've always been great for me. If I knew we were running with the Kachina jerseys as their home jerseys, apparently those have been their home jerseys they've used all year. If I knew these were going to be their main home jerseys the entire season, easily a top 3 jersey for me, but unfortunately I was going off of the burnt red. So I have Arizona at 11. If we're looking at these jerseys, because they are the home jersey, like I said in the last episode with how the Nordiques did the fleur-de-lis at the bottom, this like Southwest design they have at the bottom of the jerseys are so iconic. And that's what everyone loved about them. Then people didn't like them, but over time they got better and everyone loved them. They brought him back for these ones. These jerseys, there's nothing I would change on these jerseys. These are just so nice.
Yeah.
The logo is perfect. The design at the bottom is perfect. The sleeves are just so great. It's just, unfortunately, like I said, I thought we were going off the burnt reds. So don't be mad at me for putting them at 11. I would have these easily as a top 3 jersey. It's just product of not knowing what their home jersey was. But this is probably the 11 jersey. This placement is just off by a disclaimer part. For me, nothing I change about this jersey. It's too good. It's too good. It hurts to say that I have him at 11.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for throwing me under the bus there, Zach. Appreciate that.
How did I throw you under the bus?
No, I made all the stuff today, man.
Hey, you thought it was probably the burnt red too, so we both didn't know that. So I mean, it is what it is. So I never threw you under the bus. We both thought we were going with the burnt reds. I'm not mad at you about this.
So
I never said it was you.
These jerseys, obviously, we both have it at 11. But I would probably have these at like 3. They're really good. Definitely a solid jersey in my opinion. There's not a lot. I like the different color scheme, having the Kachina, and then you have the purple moon on his chest, and overall it works. I still think they could use maybe so that tannish color they're having on the bottom on that design have a piping going along the red, between the red and green up on the shoulders. But other than that, there's not much you can do to make this much better.
Yeah, it may have a really small thin of tan, or that, well, yeah, wherever it is between the green and the red, yeah, or have it under the red between the red and the black. I can see that, but that's a really small detail. These are just,
yeah,
these are too great.
So wrapping up this episode for our honorable mentions, I have the good old North Stars. It's, in my opinion, it's another just iconic jersey that a lot of people don't know about anymore. And it's frustrating. I like the color scheme. The only thing I would have changed is it seems like a little too much white on the shoulders, but the logo I like, the just color scheme I really enjoy. I think it works really well. It's a pretty good jersey. It's
a pretty good one. Honestly, there was like so many different renditions of the North Stars jersey. They've had ones where it was a lot of, they had black ones. They had a lot more yellow, a lot more green. There's just so many variants of the North Stars jersey. There's really no one iconic North Stars jersey. It's just the color scheme and the number font and just the logo is just so good. It's just, they've had so many variants of the jerseys. It's kind of tough to pick the right one for the North Stars, but no, I agree. That's a good one. And I picked the Hartford Whalers. I mean, the whale logo is just so iconic. It's so great. You know, it's just, and the fact that they have like the fin as the top, and then they have the W for the whale, and the fact they have the H in the middle of it, which is a small detail. I don't know how many people would pick up on the Hartford part, because that H where the tail and the W meet makes an H for Hartford, and just the whale alternate logo on the shoulders, so good. Such a clean look.
Oh,
very
absolutely.
iconic jersey. And that faint of blue, like their third color of blue in the bottom of the white with the white, blue, white works so well together.
Oh, 100% agree. It's easily one of my favorite jerseys. That's why the Hurricanes reverse retro I like a lot.
Those are so nice.
Even though some people disagree, I love those jerseys, and I 100% want to get one of them.
Yeah, for sure. But that will wrap up our second special edition episode where we've gone through 20 through 11. Next week, we're going to do 10 through 1. But Alex, this has been a good episode, man. It's been a lot of fun, going through our 20 through 11 list. A little bit controversial picks, different spots where we've had our jerseys compared to the last episode in this one. But overall, not a bad 20 through 11, in my opinion. The Coyotes one, that still kind of stings for me. We have them both at 11, but is what it is.
It happens. Well, guys, until next time, we will see you later. Thanks for tuning in to the Cannons Tomahawks podcast, presented by Belly Up Sports and sponsored by Pure Hockey and Spy Optic. And as always, Zach, what is it all about here? I always forget.
It is beer, food, and hockey.
Thank you for listening to the Cannons and Tomahawks podcast, presented by Belly Up Sports. Beer, food, and hockey.